So this is the photo of a sewing room floor from the 1980s. It's not the one where I worked, but it looks very similar. So that's in the UK, and one of the, I guess it was quite a good understanding that I ended up with from working in those roles. I used to work in design costing as well for Warner's, the lingerie company there on the right. So that meant taking design ideas from the we had about half a dozen different designers, and they would put together you know, a mock-up of something that could go into production, and then we had to work out how many you know, how much elastic was in there, how much of each different fabric, and that meant doing layups and all sorts of things. So it's good understanding into just how things go together, and the complexity of doing costings and meeting price targets and that kind of thing. So I guess thinking about my career, there've been some recurring themes. Productivity from the industrial engineering. I've been involved in quite a lot of systems design, though it was never sort of you know, badged as that. But when I think back about it, I designed software systems at Kellogg's to help with our pallet loss problem, and solved a £1 million problem that we had with lost pallets. I've designed knowledge sharing systems at Kellogg's. I've designed systems for getting products through a warehouse at Tesco, when we brought different temperature groups of food together in the first what were called composite warehouses in the UK, with about 7 different temperature regimes in the same warehouse. So working out how we were going to access all that in a productive way. So all sorts of different systems. And I guess you know, even though I've never formally studied systems thinking, I can really see the importance of that and see how unforeseen consequences can trip you up if you don't sit back and think about, you know, what could go wrong with this project, what might we not have thought of, where's there a potential for scope creep and all that kind of thing. And so things that that we like at Rethink are donut economics. We think that's a really good tool to use, and it's great to see that cities like Amsterdam are starting to use that now as a way to guide their policies going forward. And we like the 4 system conditions from the natural step, which is a science-based methodology that evolved in the 1990s. It's all open sourced, and they have lots of good tools on their website. And they frame these 4 system conditions, so 3 relating to resources and 1 relating to society, and they break those down in a little bit more detail. And we like to turn those around so that instead of talking about what we shouldn't do, we talk about what we should do. So we've just kind of you know, turned the words into something more positive. And I think the clause that we often forget about is this one around the man-made substances. So the natural step talk about, you know, that we shouldn't be polluting the earth with man-made substances, things like VOCs and toxins and lots of man-made chemicals. And we forget that many of the chemicals that are in use today haven't been tested. And if they are tested, they're tested in isolation, not in combination with the things that are probably in the product they're going to be used in. And so I think there are lots more stories to emerge for things that are in general use today that turn out to be toxic. And so the kind of, you know, the takeaway message is that the circular economy is about much more than recycling. And I'd ask all of you to, you know, look at the companies that you're favoring and think about whether they are doing something meaningful to slow the flow. You know, are they making things shareable? Are they making things more durable, repairable, things that have value when you finish with them so that you can resell them? Or is it just, you know, a bit of greenwash about some recycled materials? We need to be raising the bar with all of these companies. And it's about moving from, you know, doing less bad to doing more good. Moving away from that waste economy, where not only do we waste resources, but we're creating pollution and waste at every single stage of the supply chain, into the atmosphere, into the air, into soil and water, you know, destroying what we depend on. And moving to that circular system where we keep products in the loop for much longer, and we keep the value from the product, and we gain lots as a business from doing that. And as Yvonne Chouinard said, if we're part of the solution, not part of the problem, then it's a lot easier to go to sleep at night.